3 days later, at the White Deer Academy's martial arts arena, Chinkayer had successfully passed her first test, easily defeating a strong man who was only superficially skilled. Everyone was deeply impressed by her immense talent, considering she had no cultivation resources and was still far stronger than those who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths. However, at this moment, Chinkayer was worried. Since I signed the agreement, my brother has disappeared. Is he still angry with me? New Dean by Dongrang watched Chinkayer's perfect performance, planning his own scheme. After winning the competition, he would package her as Wen's senior disciple and expand their influence in Wen's name. Meanwhile, in the Patriarch's palace, Chindao was busy tending to the alchemy furnace, having worked tirelessly for a day and a night. Just as he was about to rest, the Patriarch shouted at him, reminding him that he had been stripped of his battle garb, cultivation, rest, and food. Chindao clenched his fists and dared not complain. The day of Chinkayer's competition arrived, and she had already defeated the affiliated forces of 9 academies. One more victory and she would become the strongest of her generation, thanks to Wen's guidance. The final challenger was Yuma, who was ranked second at the Bailu Academy. Yuma expressed surprise that Chinkayer was willing to submit to the academy, but she insisted on helping her brother become a genius. Yuma mocked her, saying that even if her brother had more resources, he would still be a waste. Feeding pigs with the resources you have will yield better returns than giving them to your brother. Chinkayer then used the White Deer sword art, surprising everyone with her skill in Wen's self-created technique. Yuma was doomed to lose, and even the dean couldn't help but sigh, wishing that Yuma could just be content with being second best. Chinkayer demanded that Yuma apologize to Chinkayer's brother, sparing his life. Just as everyone thought Yuma would lose, something unexpected happened. Unexpectedly, Yuma smirked at this. Then, with a speed invisible to the naked eye, he punched Kayer in the lower abdomen. This punch instantly destroyed Chinkayer's spiritual veins. Suddenly, 2 identical Yumas appeared on the field, leaving everyone stunned. The dean was shocked and sat up. Isn't that the rare battle garb left by Senior One in the academy? The twin battle garb? No one wanted to believe that Chinkayer would be defeated with just one hit. Yuma pointed at Chinkayer proudly and said, "I'll use your brother's words to reply to you. It's true that fortunes can change in an instant. Don't underestimate the poor youth." The dean's face was full of disbelief. He himself had always wanted to obtain the twin battle garb, which not only doubled the host's abilities but also gave them 2 lives. But it was left specifically for those with fate by Senior One. Where did this guy come from? At this moment, Yuma was looking up at the sky, laughing smugly. "I was able to get the twin battle garb all thanks to Chindao. If I hadn't eaten that shit pear and gotten diarrhea that day, I wouldn't have fallen into the academy's pit and found the twin battle garb." Chindao had not rested for 10 days and nights and was deeply frustrated by this partial and biased patriarch who forgot his obligations after seeing someone attractive. He was indignant when he received a message from his family's token that Chinkayer's cultivation had been destroyed by Yuma and that he was currently on the verge of death. He was instructed to return home immediately. Meanwhile, on the martial arts stage, Yuma and his twin battle garb had an overwhelming advantage. He lifted Chinkayer with one hand and said, "I was originally looking for your brother to settle accounts, but he's disappeared these past few days. Why don't you kneel down and apologize for your brother?" The woman spat and said, "I refuse." Upon hearing this, Yuma immediately slapped Chinkayer in the face. "Do you still think you're the top student in the academy? If you don't kneel, I'll keep hitting you until you do." He then unleashed a furious barrage of attacks, causing the male students below to grind their teeth in anger. "Do you have no compassion for women?" they wondered. Chinkayer, the goddess of the academy, had already lost the ability to resist. Why didn't Yuma stop? This was clearly a case of settling a personal grudge in public. The dean of the academy not only did nothing to stop it, but even told Yuma to continue. He said that even if he killed Chinkayer, he would take responsibility for the consequences. The dean already had a new plan in mind. Now, Yuma, who was more obedient, had the twin battle garb left by Senior One. This made him much stronger than Chinkayer, who had only received some guidance. If he could become Senior One's spokesperson, he could easily increase the academy's influence several times over. Yuma was no longer constrained by any concerns, and even came up with a more malicious idea than simply killing Chinkayer. He looked at Kayer's long, slender legs and kicked them, breaking her leg bones and shattering her dantian. From then on, the academy's pride and joy became a useless person. At this moment, Chindao sensed that his sister was in danger and angrily demanded that the Patriarch let him go back to save her. But the Patriarch was enjoying the sunshine, the beach, and the bikini-clad girls and couldn't care less about his younger generation. Chindao was furious. "Qinshan, you're a real scumbag," he said. "If you're intentionally trying to make things difficult for me, just kill me. There's no need to be so cruel. I know I'm useless. The responsibility for our family's decline rests on me. But now my own sister is about to be beaten to death, and you're still favoring others. Rather than being humiliated by you and watching my sister die miserably, I'd rather fight you to the death. Even if I can't win, I'll die like a man." Just then, Chindao suddenly felt a surge of energy coursing through his body. It seemed that his innate thunder and lightning body had been reactivated once again, daring to be so presumptuous towards Patriarch. "Don't you see what changes have happened to your body?" At this moment, he suddenly felt that the narrow spiritual veins had suddenly become extremely broad, and his concentrating realm cultivation that was abolished seemed to have leaped into divine realm. When Baiyu stepped forward and spoke frankly, "Do you think Patriarch wanted to kill you? Patriarch just sealed your battle garb. Abolishing your cultivation was actually sealing your original cultivation. The release of pressure was to seal your speed. Not letting you rest was to seal your physical body. The ultimate goal is to bestow upon you a completely new battle garb." The words have not yet fallen. Suddenly the pill furnace behind him opened on its own. Then a golden light burst out and instantly wrapped around him. This was the four-sealed battle garb, one of the top 10 ancient battle garbs that surpasses the battle garb. Chindao suddenly felt a significant increase in his power. "So, Patriarch was doing it for my own good. Then why did he treat me that way before?" When continued to speak, "The conditions for using the four-sealed battle garb are complicated. The host's 4 powers must be sealed, and the host's anger must be used as attraction. That's why Patriarch kept provoking you. Once you become extremely angry, the battle garb can be perfectly integrated. Before you arrived, Patriarch spent the whole night selecting battle garb for you. He even sacrificed a 1,000-year essence to unlock the four-sealed battle garb. It was precisely because of this that Patriarch looked so haggard when you arrived." Chindao was flattered. "So, all that trash on the mountain was chosen for me. Then why didn't he just say it directly instead of making it seem like he wanted to kill me?" Luo Qinshan told him that it was Patriarch's quirk. He always beat around the bush when giving good things. He would never say it straightforwardly. He's such a tsundere. The three of them were chattering away, crazy gossiping. Qinshan looked at them, feeling speechless. "If it weren't for the system's requirement that I can't directly give it to you, I wouldn't waste my expressions on you guys." The system was speechless. They promised to punish Chindao, but in the end, they gave him a big gift. Patriarch just pretended to sleep and didn't see it. "Anyway, I didn't give it directly to him, so it doesn't count as a violation, right?" Chindao behind me instantly fell to his knees on the ground. "Thank you, Patriarch, for giving me the battle garb. If I have offended you, please punish me." Qinshan waved his hand and said, "Don't talk nonsense. I didn't give you anything, and the gift you received is for kneeling to your father. You even kneeled wrong." However, Chindao said with emotion, "My father passed away when I was very young. He was also someone who spoke harshly but was actually kind-hearted, just like you are to me. So I didn't kneel wrong. You are like my father to me." Upon hearing this, the Patriarch immediately stood up with tears streaming down his face and said, "Here, take this little wooden stick and go back and beat up those who bullied your sister." At this time, Yuma used the severely injured Qinkaier as a threat, demanding that the Qin family sign a surrender agreement. The elder of the Qin family had already been bribed, and just as they were about to sign, Chindao arrived in time. "After a few days of not seeing each other, you dare to make decisions for me?" He punching the elder into the ground. Facing Yuma's aggressive behavior, Chindao smashed the agreement with one palm and said, "I can't do what you want. If you want to fight me, I'll accompany you to the end. If I lose, my whole family is at your disposal. If I win, I might kill you. If you accept the challenge, we'll see the outcome on the arena tomorrow." The Academy's recognized #1 waste challenged the strongest in the Academy, gambling with the lives of his entire family. Everyone thought he was crazy. Even his sister, who was so strong, couldn't beat Yuma. This guy was simply giving himself away. The dean also said, "Umo, you don't have to hold back. Just kill him for me. This time I must teach these people who go against the Academy a lesson and establish my own authority." Yuma's face was full of contempt. "Now that I have my twin battle garb on, defeating you is as easy as crushing an ant." Chindao didn't hesitate at all. "You're just lucky to have stumbled upon one senior's inheritance in a dung heap because of me. During the days I was away from home, do you think I didn't come across any opportunities?" Yuma was taken aback by the sudden burst of momentum. The confidence he exuded was so strong that he must have really obtained some inheritance or opportunity. While he was still in a daze, Chindao suddenly punched him hard. Yuma instinctively activated his protective energy to defend himself, but he didn't expect Chindao to be directly bounced away. Then, he heavily fell to the ground. Yuma was stunned by the scene. He was just so fierce a moment ago. What's going on? The dean burst into laughter at the sight. He thought Chindao was so confident and powerful, but he ended up being defeated by Yuma with just one move, just like his little sister. The students were also speechless. Indeed, he was a rubbish in the nourished spirit realm, who couldn't be saved. He even bounced himself off with protective energy when he ran into someone else's. Yuma stepped forward to mock him. What a pretentious trash. I thought you had some real skills, but I didn't even have to make a move before you were done. Chindao explained that he was using his new battle garb in combat for the first time and had forgotten to release its seal. Moreover, the more he sealed himself, the stronger the battle garb became after being unsealed. Before Yuma could start ridiculing him, Chindao suddenly attacked and knocked him down with a single palm strike. Everyone present was amazed. When did this guy become so strong? Chindao also closed his eyes and showed off his arrogance. Yuma was just a mere opponent. I only needed to slightly exert myself to reach his limit. But when he opened his eyes again, Yuma had already disappeared without a trace. Yuma had activated the twin battle garb, dodging the fatal strike. Yuma decided not to hold back and immediately used the 4 forbidden techniques. The 4 spiritual images were startlingly visible, causing everyone to be shocked. These were the spiritual image forbidden techniques passed down by one senior, and even someone as talented as Chindao had only learned one. Yuma had surprisingly learned all 4. The dean couldn't help but exclaim his exceptional talent, stating that with Yuma around, the academy's future was limitless. After the frightening blow earlier, Yuma didn't dare to take things lightly. However, Chindao was completely composed at the moment. You thought I only had that much power earlier? Chindao said, unsealing his speed and landing a kick to Yuma's stomach at an incredible pace. Before Yuma could react, he was sent flying with a palm strike. In an instant, all 4 spiritual images were shattered. This scene left the dean bald in shock. Not only were the spiritual images destroyed, but Yuma's twin battle garb was also shattered. When Senior's twin battle garb is nothing, Chindao boasted. He's just my Patriarch's little brother. I've even peed on his face before. Yuma couldn't believe Chindao had become so strong. You must have used some crooked technique, Yuma accused. Since you don't believe me, Chindao responded, I'll give you no chance to doubt me again. Chindao unleashed his power, including the Divine Realm and Thunderlight body, with the 4 seal battle garb, crushing Yuma completely. What twin battle garb? Chindao sneered. I have 4 seal battle garb, 2 more than you. The dean coughed up blood in disbelief. The 4 seal battle garb was one of the ancient 10 great battle garbs, and he couldn't believe Chindao had reached the Divine Realm first rank. Bai Dongrang couldn't believe his eyes. This legendary battle garb actually existed. At this moment, Yuma has been driven insane. This must be a dream. How could a loser like you be my opponent? Driven by the desire to avenge his sister, Chindao was determined to kill. He launched a full-force palm strike towards Yuma's face, leaving him with no chance of standing up again. The students on the platform looked on in shock and amazement. Chindao had actually killed Yuma, but Chindao was unfazed by this act. Don't make a fuss, he said. It was he who broke the rules and gravely injured my sister. He brought this upon himself. Bai Dongrang was furious to see his prized student killed in such a manner. He only crippled your sister's cultivation. You went too far by killing him. Today, you either pledge allegiance to our academy in Yuma's place, or you die. Chindao was not intimidated in the slightest. I made a life and death agreement with him. Killing him was justified. Are you not afraid of being mocked for attacking a student? In the world of martial arts, strength is paramount. If you don't submit to our White Deer Academy, death is your only option. Life is precious, but if it means our clan must submit to your academy, then I'd rather die. You red-haired old bald donkey. The students were shocked to hear him insult the academy head in public. He doesn't know the meaning of death. Seeing Bai Dongrang's arrogance, Chindao unleashed his trump card, White Whale Dive. This was a move that had once allowed his predecessor, Wen Baiyu, to single-handedly defeat 3 major sects. Sealing release. Followed by the collision of 2 tremendous forces, an astonishing energy burst out instantly, and even disciples with low cultivation levels were directly knocked away. Even the forest miles away was affected by it. Chindaorong's strength completely exceeded their expectations. After the dust gradually dispersed, the dean could be seen panting and crouching on the ground. The students couldn't help but exclaim, who would have thought Chindao had such power? Even the dean was injured by him. Moreover, what about the dean's hair? Bai Dongrang couldn't help feeling scared. He never expected that a loser could injure him to this extent. With such a record, even if he died, he could leave his mark in the history of the academy. At this moment, a burst of laughter suddenly came from the smoke and dust. If the dean could survive the battle against the 10 ancient battle garbs, he should be the one to leave his mark in history. This scene shocked everyone again. This guy actually didn't die, and he seemed to be completely unscathed. The dean couldn't believe what he saw, and immediately became alert, thinking that this guy must have had powerful magic tools to help him. If he was not eliminated today, he would become a threat in the future. But only Chindao himself knew that he was pretending to be calm but was actually seriously injured. Trying to forcibly withstand this attack from a King Realm warrior, he could barely hold on. Chindao, innocent people carry a jade, but those guilty are punished. Don't blame me for being ruthless this time. Before he finished speaking, Bai Dongrang made another move with the white whale falling technique. This move was extremely vicious and rarely used consecutively, because it consumed a large amount of life force. Therefore, when one senior encountered an ambush that year, he retreated from the arena after using this move. Seeing this situation, Chindao no longer concealed his plan. He had originally planned to save the artifact for later use. Looks like there's no other way this time. This is the artifact that I finally managed to retrieve from Patriarch 100,000 years ago. I will definitely use this artifact to smash you to death. Upon hearing this, Bai Dongrang panicked. This guy has the ancient four-sealed battle garb, so it's not surprising if he really has some artifact in his hand. But when Chindao opened it, everyone present was stunned. It was just a piece of firewood. Chindao was dumbfounded. Isn't this the firewood I use for my alchemy furnace? I'm done for now. Bai Dongrang couldn't stop laughing. A waste holding a piece of waste. You really are a perfect match. Everyone was speechless. It turned out that he wasn't uninjured. He was just beaten silly. But at this moment, Chindao still chose to believe in Patriarch. This is something that Patriarch bestowed upon me. It must be an ancient artifact. At the same time, Qinxian Patriarch looked extremely embarrassed, because he knew that it was really just an ordinary piece of firewood. He was moved to tears by the plot of the protagonist losing his father when he was young, and he accidentally packed the wrong item. He originally wanted to give him a heavy ancient artifact. It was only then that he realized why the system didn't stop him at the time. The system had long known that it was just a piece of waste wood. Now that the situation is urgent, he must break the rules to save this junior. Otherwise, Chindao will undoubtedly die. But the system requires him not to act directly. Patriarch had a sudden inspiration. If I can't help the junior directly, then I'll help the stick. Then he applied spiritual power to the stick through the air. The broken stick instantly restored itself and, with the help of the spiritual power, suddenly spun rapidly. It pierced through Bai Dongrang's spirit body of the giant whale and quickly smashed into his arm. Bai Dongrang's arm armor shattered instantly, and his entire arm seemed to be twisted. The students were shocked. What kind of terrifying artifact is this stick? Just an ordinary strike shattered all the bones in his hand. Bai Dongrang was shocked, wondering if this terrifying power was the legendary stick intention. When everyone was puzzled about what stick intention was, the wooden stick had already swiftly returned to Chindaorang's hand. I knew Patriarch wouldn't deceive me. This stick is indeed a divine weapon. At that moment, however, Bai Dongrang's eyes became strange, and his hair suddenly grew wild. Even if you have stick intention, so what? Just so happens that I've been meditating every day for years to regrow my hair, and inadvertently discovered whip intention for myself. Remember, the whip naturally restrains the stick. Since ancient times, those with strong stick intention have never been able to defeat whip intention. You might as well just accept your death. The students were stunned. Suddenly, the bald head of the dean began to grow hair wildly, and he loudly shouted, "Come on, loser. You should feel honored to have come this far with me." Chindao tightly gripped the wooden stick and replied, "Even if the whip restrains the stick, so what? This was given to me by Patriarch. I unconditionally trust Patriarch." But the next moment, his stick was entangled by Bai Dongrang's wild red hair. In the face of Bai Dongrang's ultimate move, he had no more strength to defend himself. Suddenly, Patriarch transmitted a message to Chindao, telling him to try unleashing his stick intention with the four-sealed battle garb. At that moment, the wooden stick in Chindaorang's hand began to grow larger and larger until it was like a huge needle. With a fierce strike, the giant whale was instantly shattered. Even Bai Dongrang could not understand how stick intention could grow larger, and the continuing growth of the stick even smashed his statue in the distance. Qinxian looked on with satisfaction at this scene, remarking, "My disciples really are exceptionally gifted." The system was speechless, wondering what kind of stick intention Patriarch had given him, and how it could possibly be so strong. I only passed on my staff skills to my juniors, and did not directly take action. This doesn't count as a foul, does it? But if you want to know what this staff skill is, I'll reluctantly tell you. This is the book I've been studying recently, and it's also the staff skill I learned from the Monkey King. And at this moment, Bai Dongrang seemed to have no vitality left, while Chindao Rang looked at the shrinking staff in his hand. The Patriarch's artifact is indeed terrifying. Immediately, he shouted to the students below the stage, "The dean is dead, and now I am the new dean. Does anyone have any objections?" Everyone present expressed their submission. After all, whoever became the dean was the same to them. It was just the death of an annoying person and the arrival of another. However, Chindao Rang became serious. "I want to reform. You don't need to kneel and submit to me." The original intention of Senior when founding the academy was to let everyone practice equally. "I won't monopolize all the resources for my own selfish desires like Bai Dongrang. Without destruction, there can be no construction. From today on, I want to create a world where everyone can practice, and no one needs to submit to anyone." From now on, Bailu Academy became a sanctuary for public practice, and Qin Daorong's strength made everyone afraid to have any evil thoughts. Qin Kaier, his younger sister, gradually recovered her health, and the Qin family's reputation and territory once again shook the east of the Hongming realm. At this time, in the 9 Deaths and 1 Life realm, Qin Xian's realm had broken through to the Supreme One Piece Earth rank due to completing a system task, and he no longer had to worry about being attacked by anyone. He then prepared to ask Little Luo to cook, but suddenly found that the Black Thunder Bull Python and the Purple Ghostly Ming Sparrow were both severely injured on the ground. Qin Xian suddenly felt an unprecedented fear. How is this possible? Who did this? Just then, there was a sudden sound behind Qin Xian. "Hello, Qin Xian. This is my gift to you. Do you like it?"